Cartoons are something that almost everyone grows up with. It's a form of escapism and can leave some extremely long-lasting impressions on us as humans through the stories they tell and the humor that makes us laugh. We treasure every era of animation, but I believe the animation of the mid-1900s is some of the most treasured animation of all time. Many studios came forth to create characters and stories that won't be replicated. Big names include Warner Brothers, Hanna-Barbera, UPA, MGM, and others, just to name a few. Cartoons from this era continue to be treasured due to their ability to stay relevant and timeless. Over the years, however, these animations seem to get shown less and less on mainstream television. This was especially the case in the early 2000s, so Turner Broadcasting pitched in to create a 24-hour ad-free channel solely based on classic cartoons, or as we know it is today, Boomerang. Before we can even talk about how it is now, we need to go way back to the year of 1992. Boomerang was originally launched as a programming blog on December 8, 1992, and after Cartoon Network was launched as a TV channel in October 1992. The lineup mainly consisted of classic cartoons from Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers, usually airing reruns of the Time Warner Library, around 4 hours each every weekend. Time slots were quite rampant in the early years. Sometimes it would jump from Saturday mornings to Saturday afternoons into Sunday evenings, and some time cuts would also take effect.
On Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Later down the block's run, it started implementing a random year in which cartoons were aired in each week. For example, one week the cartoon showcase would be from 1969, so you might expect some episodes from Scooby-Doo or Dastardly and Muttley. Around this time, the block started implementing the toy bumpers. It would be short bumpers of toy versions of classic Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers characters moving around sporadically. It gave the illusion of a collector's classic cartoon collection piece, which is what gave Boomerang its signature style. Around this time, Cartoon Network started creating their own programming, including early shows such as Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken. These cartoons, now called Cartoons, started filling up the schedule along with other programming. This caused the classic cartoons that were the original intention of Cartoon Network to air in more limited quantities. To combat this, Turner wanted to create another separate hub to air older cartoons, so they moved the Boomerang block to become a separate TV channel. Boomerang was officially on the air on April 1st, 2000. Now the Boomerang was stretched out to be 24/7, 7 days a week. There was a whole slew of new ideas and in-betweens. Many iconic blocks came in to capture the spirits of classic cartoons. Some of these blocks included Boomeraction, which showcased some of the action-adventure cartoons such as Johnny Quest with Secret Squirrel, Boomerang Zoo, which played shorts starring animals, Boomer Royalty, which picked a cartoon character and would play several hours of the show they were a part of on the weekend, and Boomerang Theater showcased many Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers animated movies around this time. Boomerang also brought back the Cartoon Network Groovies music videos and animated shorts in between shows, some animated in very different and unique art styles. Boomerang stayed this way for several years, playing the same shows and bumpers with the same announcer chanting, "This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network, it's all coming back to you," until the 2010s. Around this time, Cartoon Network had a resurgence of viewership and ratings due to many series that became very popular. Boomerang was also beginning to struggle during this time, since many of the viewers who were dropping and weren't watching the channel anymore. Boomerang started inserting many newer Cartoon Network shows such as Ben 10 Omniverse and later Teen Titans Go and The Amazing World of Gumball during the daytime. This meant the older classics would only air extremely early in the morning, where the demographics that remembered watching these shows when they were younger would be asleep. Then, something happened that would change Boomerang forever. On February 4th, 2014, as part of Turner Broadcasting's yearly upfront, they announced that Boomerang would seek international feeds and distributions, support advertising, and overall change the look of the channel for good. This was planned in the hopes that Boomerang would later be a second flagship channel on par with the main Cartoon Network channel with many family-oriented series. Many countries overseas received the relaunch early. The Latin American Boomerang, which at the time was a channel meant for young teenagers, received the rebrand along with other sections in Europe and the Middle East. Boomerang in the US was keeping the same style for a little while longer, until January 19th, 2015, when all traces of Boomerang from 15 years before was wiped out completely. The new redesign featured a new logo, neon colors, and very basic shapes, very similar to Cartoon Network's Check-In 3.0 brand at the time. Many CN shows also started pouring in, such as Wabbit and the new Scooby-Doo, along with reruns of Teen Titans Go and many others. Many of the older obscure library that Boomerang offered 10 years before was completely gone. The ones that did remain were the most popular franchises such as Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry, which flooded the daytime schedule. Many series such as The Flintstones or The Smurfs were only reserved for early hours in the morning. Vice President of Design and Creative Studios at Cartoon Network, Jacob Escobedo, had this to say in an interview. "We were looking for a studio that understood our sensibilities, high expectations for strong visuals and a sense of humor. Art and Graft had the ability to communicate with our new positioning for the channel, had the ability to communicate our new positioning for the network. They added a lot of perspective to the project by adding this dynamic graphic environment where our characters can exist in between shows. The whole point of making the change was to create a sensory, lighthearted world in which the Boomerang characters could live and grow." Boomerang had essentially become a hollow shell of what it become. Boomerang was the hub of classic cartoons which couldn't be seen anywhere else, which was Cartoon Network's intention even before that. Boomerang doesn't even feel real anymore. It lacks any charm that the original designer had in the first place. The scheduling has become extremely repetitive with the same kind of safe programming. It's mainly extremely mainstream classic cartoons filling up the schedule. What's even the point of calling it Boomerang anymore? The programming has just made it into a Cartoon Network 2. The original slogan was, "It's all coming back to you." Now the shows are just so recent and overplayed that it isn't exciting to see what's on the channel anymore. You want me to tell you what's more Boomerang than Boomerang? I went down to Latin America like 2 years ago and Turner owned this channel called Tooncast.
Esto es Tooncast.
It was pretty much like old Boomerang, a blend of old and new cartoons airing at complete random. 1 half hour you'll get something like Wacky Races or Penelope Pit Stop. The next half hour will be something like Powerpuff Girls or Dexter's Lab. It was the epitome of variety. Sadly though, I can definitely guess that Boomerang will stay this way for a long while. As a business decision, it probably won't be a good idea to bring back these older cartoons. However, you can't do TV business without an audience you can respect so they can keep watching. If you can intrigue your audience, you can make some money in the process. If you're just going to produce the same kind of repetitive content, your audience will get sick of it, move on, and will just leave you there in the dust. It's not just TV, it's every medium. It's TV, movies, music, online entertainment, it's everywhere. I understand the business excuse, I really do. Take away the redesign thing in commercials from your mind, and Boomerang is just extremely below average. However, a couple days ago from when I write this, Turner and Time Warner released a statement saying they are planning on creating a streaming service on mobile for Boomerang for $5 a month. Maybe it'll turn around, we can only hope and wait. Until then, we can only hope that Boomerang can bring it all back to us. That's all I gotta say, everyone. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to actually watch this and maybe somewhat come entertained. Come follow me on Twitter at Brucesnoop, support my Patreon, and come onto my Discord server or whatever. Anyways, I'm heading out now. Brucesnoop out.